Coming in at 10, Juliana Margulies and Archie Panjabi. Now, I love and hate this rumor simply because I absolutely loved the show The Good Wife, and I adored both of these characters. The rumor goes though that Juliana Margulies and Archie Panjabi both hated each other so much they needed green screen to film their final scenes together because they couldn't stand being in the same room as one another. When Panjabi filmed her final scene on the series with Margulies, it was revealed that the two filmed it separately and had it stitched together in post-production. However, Margulies stated that this was just gossip and that Panjabi was filming her other show The Fall and couldn't make it back in time. However, things got heated when Panjabi took to Twitter to deny these claims, stating that The Fall wasn't even in production when the finale was filmed. Yikes. I actually went to the same university as Archie Panjabi. Fun fact. Coming in at 9, Beyonce faked her first pregnancy. This theory widely circulated the internet back in 2011 when the singer was expecting her first child, Blue Ivy. Now the theory goes that Beyonce was never truly pregnant with her child, and instead she commissioned a surrogate to bring her daughter to term, and she fooled everyone by wearing a prosthetic stomach. However, all was going well when we all found out the truth on live television, when the singer's stomach seemingly deflated as she was taking a seat on an Australian talk show. So of course, as soon as people saw this, they went crazy with theories. Things got so intense with the singer that in 2016, while pregnant with twins, she did a partially nude photo shoot to prove to the world that she was carrying her babies. Something she really didn't have to do, but our queen blessed us all. Coming in at 8, Gene Simmons' tongue. Kiss, as we all know, are a band that would do quite literally anything for attention, but none more so than bassist Gene Simmons. He is known for his long, really long tongue, and rumors began circulating about whether it was in fact real or not. Many actually suspect that the Kiss frontman had a cow's tongue grafted onto his own so that the persona as the demon would be more believable. However, the rock star has adamantly denied these claims, as you would. Coming in at 7, David Bowie and Mick Jagger. This rumor was cooked up on the Joan Rivers show back on May 4th, 1990, when Angela Bowie, ex-wife of David Bowie, spilled some dirt on her famous ex-husband. While on the show she claimed, I quote, "I caught him in bed with men several times. In fact, the best time I caught him in bed was with Mick Jagger." And when prompted to answer if they had their clothes off, she stated, "They certainly did." Up until that point, David Bowie had openly acknowledged his bisexuality, and although Mick Jagger had not made any such statement, rumor had it that the singer was known to sleep with men, perhaps even a bandmate or two. Coming in at 6, Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight. According to this rumor, the lyrics to the Phil Collins song In the Air Tonight are about the night he watched his friend die. Now the lyrics themselves are ambiguous, but one tale says that the song adapts an incident in which Collins was on a mountain and watched his friend drown in a lake below. Apparently there was a man nearby who could have saved him, but didn't. The rumor even goes as far as to claim that Collins invited the man to go to one of his concerts so that he could play the song for him in person. However, saying that Phil Collins has claimed many times that the entire Face Value album is about the end of a marriage. Coming in at 5, Michael Jackson slept in an oxygen chamber. Back in the 1980s, there was a rumor that the King of Pop owned a hyperbaric oxygen chamber and used to sleep in the rejuvenation tank because he believed it was extremely healthy and would prolong his life. Then in 1986, a photo was leaked of Jackson appearing to be sleeping in the oxygen tank, with many reports circulating at the time that the tank was in his home and that's where he would sleep. However, back in 1993, Jackson flat out said that he had never had an oxygen chamber in his home, and that the chamber he was pictured in was for his charity, the Michael Jackson Burn Center. Coming in at 4, January Jones's baby daddy. Back in 2011, January Jones gave birth to her son Xander, and to this day nobody knows who the father of the child is. However, that hasn't stopped people from speculating. Some have guessed that the father is her ex, Jason Sudeikis. Others think it was her X-Men First Class director Matthew Vaughn, who was married to Claudia Schiffer. However, the most likely person is Bobby Flay. This is because Flay's ex-wife, Stephanie March, once told a press room that the reason she got divorced was because Flay was having an affair with January Jones, and is the father of her son. So, there we have it, I guess. Coming in at 3, Steve from Blue's Clues. A ton of rumors circulated the news when Steve Burns left Blue's Clues back in 2002, and as most fans tend to do, they fabricated stories about the actor dying in a car accident, having a problem with alcoholism, and even being put in an insane asylum. In the world of the TV show, the character left under the premise that he was going off to college, and that's when his replacement came along, Joe and his big orange sweater. The real reason is far from what I previously mentioned though. He was going bald. I quote, "I know I wasn't going to be doing children's television all my life, mostly because I refused to lose my hair on a kids TV show, and it was happening. Fast. Respect." Coming in at 2, Richard Gere and the gerbil. Now, this rumor is perhaps the most absurd thing I've ever read in my entire life, and honestly, and I warn you before going into this that it is not nice and kind of upsetting. However, saying that, Richard Gere himself has called this infamous story an urban myth, and that it is completely untrue. Back in the 90s, Gere was coming off the success of films such as Pretty Woman, during which time the actor was supposedly rushed to Cedars-Sinai Hospital in LA for an emergency gerbilectomy. That's right, a gerbilectomy. According to reports, a gerbil was inserted inside of the actor with erotic intent. Yeah, I can't even say that with a straight face. Now, thankfully, there is no shred of evidence surrounding this claim. However, Gere has suspicions on who started this rumor, Sylvester Stallone. I quote, "Richard was fired from our movie set and to this day seriously dislikes me. He even thinks I'm the individual responsible for the gerbil rumor. Not true, but that's the rumor." And finally, coming in at number 1, Angelina Jolie slept with her brother. Angelina Jolie has always had an interesting dating history, from Billy Bob Thornton to Val Kilmer to Brad Pitt. However, the incident that always stands out to us is the 2000 Oscars. Jolie showed up with her brother James Haven as her date, and the two went as far as to share a passionate kiss together. Following the kiss, Jolie won an Oscar for her role in Girl Interrupted and said, "I'm in shock, and I'm so in love with my brother right now," before going on to say, "He just held me and said he loved me, and I know he's so happy for me." Okay, calm down. The internet, of course, was abuzz with speculation that the siblings were closer than they should be. However, the two have adamantly denied these claims, as you would, and as you should. Coming in at 10, Jay-Z and Rihanna had an affair. Now, this seems to be a rumor within a rumor, thanks to Jay-Z playing an instrumental role in Rihanna's career. Some even say that Rihanna actually made this rumor up herself to gain popularity. However, some say Ring the Alarm by Beyonce is about Rihanna and the affair she had with Jay-Z. There is so much swirling around this one. However, the rumor that most believe is that Solange Knowles beat up Jay-Z in the infamous elevator video because they had a run-in with Rihanna. Juicy indeed. They 100%. In at 9, Cher had ribs removed. According to this rumor, my favorite person in the world, Cher, had some ribs removed. Cher is known for her incredible pop hits such as Believe, If I Could Turn Back Time, and Gypsy Tramps and Thieves. However, she's also been outspoken about her plastic surgery. While her body has always been flawless, even at the age of 73, would smash, Cher refused to admit that she had 2 ribs removed to give her a smaller waist, something that has been speculated for years. I mean, to each their own. I don't really care. Ribs or not, still love her. But I have my doubts. Cher is loud, and I think she would have voiced this. Nothing but respect for my queen. Love each and every rib. In at 8, Magic Johnson got HIV at an orgy with Eddie Murphy. Yes, this one is a lot. In 1991, Irvin Magic Johnson announced that he had HIV, the result of a number of sexual encounters with women over the course of his basketball career. However, some people weren't sold on this, and rumors were abuzz that he actually got infected after an orgy Eddie Murphy threw that was attended by a handful of prostitutes. Further speculation ties Jermaine Stewart, the We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off singer, who died of complications to Johnson as well. In at 7, Khloe Kardashian is OJ's daughter. I mean, this one is a tale as old as time and has some merit, I think. If you look closely, there is a striking resemblance between sisters Kim and Kourtney. However, Khloe looks nothing like her sisters. This is rumored to be because her mother Kris had an affair with O.J. Simpson, a close friend of the family's, and that the incarcerated star might actually be Khloe's real father. However, Kris quickly hopped on the content train and had Khloe take a paternity test on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which proved it was false. Sure, Jan. I mean, unless they actually got OJ to do it as well, I don't see how that works. We know Kris is the mother, we just want to know who the father is. In at 6, Oprah and Gayle are lovers. This has been a long time rumor that has floated around the internet for years. The theory goes that Oprah Winfrey and Gayle aren't just friends, they're actually a secret couple, and I'm so here for it. Gayle has no idea where the rumor came from or how it started, stating, "I've given up trying to figure that out. At this stage, if you still think that, it's on you." Honestly, Gayle, I still think it, and it's on me. And you're probably on Oprah right now. In at 5, Blake Shelton supports Paul Ryan. Blake Shelton was once spotted alongside Paul Ryan, with the singer snapped shaking hands with the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, at a restaurant. Of course, because of this, everyone believed that the two were in cahoots. However, Shelton was quick to shut down the rumors, saying that they just happened to bump into each other in matching outfits. Sure, they were both wearing camo, looked like they'd just come from shooting something. They're friends. In at 4, the NBA suspended Michael Jordan for gambling. In '93, after the Chicago Bulls won 3 championships, the NBA reportedly launched an investigation into whether the Chicago Bulls guard put bets on the game in which he played. Michael Jordan admitted to gambling, but insisted that the habit never affected his livelihood. Shortly after this, he stunned everyone by quitting the NBA to play baseball, and the investigation was ultimately dropped. The theory is that NBA chief David Stern and Jordan colluded to have him quit for a period of time so that he could re-enter the league and avoid all of the mess and not be in trouble. Respect. In at 3, Taylor Swift dumped Calvin Harris for buying sex. According to this rumor, when DJ Calvin Harris was spotted leaving a cheap massage parlor known for illegally selling sex, he was very quick to deny the rumors. However, that didn't stop the rumors from happening. Then of course his relationship with Taylor Swift ended not long after. Could there be a connection between the two? Did she end the relationship because he was paying for sex? Who knows? Who cares? In at 2, Mikey from the Life commercial stomach exploded. This urban legend centers on Mikey, the kid who hated everything except Life cereal. The rumor was that that young boy had ingested a mixture of Coke and Pop Rocks, and in turn it made his stomach explode, with the boy dying instantly. However, to debunk this theory, John Gilchrist is very much alive, but will the combination kill you? That's something we don't want to find out. It probably doesn't kill you, but you never know. Should I try it on camera? I'm turning 27. I'll do it on my birthday and then we'll see if I live. 27 Club, here I come. And finally, coming in at number 1, Jennifer Lawrence caused Chris Pratt's divorce. According to some theorists, J-Lo caused the split between Chris Pratt and Anna Faris. Crazy I know, but possibly true. When Pratt starred alongside Lawrence in the movie Passengers, rumors were abuzz that the pair were having a steamy affair. It even became so rampant that Chris's now ex-wife Anna addressed the rumors, with all of them adamantly denying it. However, Faris later admitted publicly that her concern about her husband's alleged infidelity was a factor that led to their eventual divorce. More bizarre still, Lawrence is still friends with both Pratt and Faris. Way to play both sides. Coming in at 10, Tom Cruise is an alien. Tom Cruise, as we know, is one of the most famous members of the Church of Scientology. There is so much mystery surrounding the church, but particularly surrounding the galactic ruler Xenu. According to the Washington Post, Scientologists believe that Xenu once expelled humans to Earth from another planet, and their disembodied spirits live in everyone. Saying that, many have theorized that Cruise is in fact part alien spirit. It has also been rumored that Cruise built an alien bunker at his Colorado estate out of fear that Xenu would attack again. Coming in at 9, Walt Disney's body. Now, prior to Walt Disney's death, his health had been deteriorating for many months before he finally agreed to enter St. Joseph Hospital in California on November 2, 1966, where a walnut-sized spot was discovered on his left lung. After a successful surgery and 2 weeks of post-operative care, Disney was released from the hospital before growing too weak and returning to the hospital again. His health then began to fail even more, and Walt died 2 weeks later when his circulatory system collapsed on the morning of December 15, 1966. Following his death, numerous claims were made that his body was frozen somewhere at Disneyland, specifically under the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction. Yikes. Coming in at number 8, Dolly Parton's ribs. Like Cher on our previous list, Dolly Parton has also been the subject to ridiculous rumors about her tiny frame. However, the singer clarified that she's never undergone any such surgery during a 2014 interview with Woman's Day. I quote, "I went into a restroom in Los Angeles years ago and this girl said, 'Oh, I want you to tell me, does that really hurt?' I was like, 'What? Does what hurt?' She said, 'Like when they take your ribs out.'" She then went on to debunk the rumor, saying that her waist is little because nothing grows in the shade. Coming in at 7, Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer is a pseudonym of an unidentified serial killer who operated in Northern California from at least the late 1960s to the early 1970s. The killer targeted 4 men and 3 women between the ages of 16 and 29, with 2 of the men surviving attempted murder. After years of searching, the true identity of the killer has never been discovered. However, there are some out there who believe it to be Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Now, there is no evidence suggesting that this is even remotely true, other than the fact that the senator bears a small resemblance to the sketch of the killer. In fact, an exhaustive investigation by the Washington Post revealed that Cruz was born in 1970, while the first known killing by the Zodiac was in 1968. However, that hasn't stopped people from speculating. Coming in at 6, Cameron Diaz's face. Now, this one is just bizarre, honestly. In 2011, Pop Sugar asked Cameron Diaz what the weirdest rumor she had ever heard about herself was, and she said, "It's that I only wash my face with Evian water." So where does the theory come from. The actress went on to state, I quote, "We live our lives in trailers. Actors are like circus folk. People don't realize that it's super unglamorous, and the water in the trailer comes from tanks they put chemicals in so that it doesn't freeze. It's like antifreeze. You would never wash your face with it. So anyone who washes their face at work would have to use bottled water to wash their face. There's a grain of truth in everything that someone has taken it and just spoiled it. So was someone ruining everything for everyone?" Coming in at 5, Justin Bieber is a reptile. According to some theorists and Australian news website Perth Now, during one of Justin Bieber's visits down under a few years back, hundreds of eyewitnesses apparently saw their idol turn into a giant reptile. Now, allegedly, several witnesses served up some incredibly interesting quotes, including, "There were girls hiding in toilets, crying, guys were running for the exits, jumping in taxis to get out of there." Classic. Apparently, the star in his reptile form has a black stripe down the middle, and big scaly claws that lash out angrily. Now, of course, there is no evidence to confirm the rumor, not to mention the fact that the idea of a lizard person is biologically impossible. But coming in at 4, Marilyn Manson. Rumor has it that before launching into his music career, shock rocker Marilyn Manson played Kevin Arnold's sidekick, Paul Pfeiffer, on the popular TV series The Wonder Years. However, Pfeiffer was in reality played by Josh Saviano. But the rumor doesn't stop there. According to theorists, Saviano grew up, changed his name, and reconfigured his career to become satanic rock singer Marilyn Manson. In reality though, the singer was 19 years old when The Wonder Years began, meaning he would have been far too old to play pre-teen Pfeiffer. Again, people don't like math, so they don't want to do that. Coming in at 3, Mr. Rogers' Sweaters. Born Fred Rogers, he was a television personality, musician, puppeteer, writer, producer, and Presbyterian minister. He was also the creator, showrunner, and host of the preschool television series Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Now, the star was known for his adorable sweaters, but this rumor goes that he wore those sweaters to cover up the tattoos from his time as a Navy SEAL. However, the truth of the matter is, Fred Rogers never served in any war. He was actually a devoted Presbyterian minister who neither smoked nor drank. Sad times. Can't relate. In at 2, Taylor Swift is a clone. A couple years back, an image cropped up online of a woman named Zena LaVey, a high priestess of the Church of Satan. However, it was incredibly difficult not to see the striking resemblance between herself and pop star Taylor Swift. Of course, it wasn't long before rumors began swirling, including one that stated Swift was a clone of LaVey. I quote, "The conspiracy theory is that Swift was taken and replaced by the Illuminati with a clone of LaVey, who was apparently a member of a secretive cult, according to BuzzFeed. Neither Swift nor LaVey have debunked the rumor, therefore it must be true." True. And finally, coming in at number 1, Beyonce kidnapped Sia. In 2016, this crazy theory emerged on Brazilian social media that Beyonce kidnapped fellow pop star Sia and was holding her hostage as her songwriter. Well, a hashtag even began trending on Twitter called Save Sia. The rumor seemed to have begun because of a misinterpreted article back in 2015 in Billboard in which Sia said that collaborating with Beyonce is like a writing camp and that she's very Frankenstein when she comes to the songs. I don't know how that suggests kidnapping, but to each their own, I guess. Like, was Beyonce down in a basement cutting up people's limbs and sticking them to Sia? I don't think so.
Number 10. Jada's biases. When the Oscars So White controversy erupted in 2016, Will and Jada were among the most vocal critics of the Academy. For the second year in a row, all 20 of the actors nominated in the lead and supporting role categories were white, something that had not happened since 1998. Jada released a much publicized and highly mocked video explaining why she was boycotting the event, hoping to shine a spotlight on institutional racism. However, the majority of Hollywood was well aware that Jada was being a massive hypocrite, as during an episode of Red Table Talk, the actress confessed to her own tendency to judge others, revealing she specifically had a problem with blonde white women. According to Jada herself, blonde hair on a woman just kinda sets her off, and she's had to hold herself back a few times. She went on to reveal that she had actually turned down several interviews over the years simply due to the interviewer being a white blonde lady. She claims that her bias is due to her history of being bullied by women with those physical traits growing up. Now, I don't know, I got bullied all the time, but you don't see me running away from everyone who wears camo. Number 9, bad mom. Rumors have been flying around for years that Willow and Jaden Smith basically raised themselves. Their upbringing was nothing to scoff at. Jaden was on track to become an actor after starring in the 2008 remake of the classic Karate Kid series alongside martial arts and opera legend Jackie Chan, but later shifted his focus to more entrepreneurial side of things, developing his own fashion brand, which has garnered him massive success. His sister Willow opted to stick with her creative roots, however, and has made quite the name for herself in the hip-hop genre. Jada. Unfortunately, their behavior comes from a place of neglect. During an episode of Red Table Talk, Jaden confronted his parents, calling out their terrible parenting skills. With both being so busy in their careers, they were never home to care for the youngsters. Jaden and Willow recount spending a majority of their childhood with various nannies and teachers, only seeing their parents between projects or if they were working with them, like Jaden and Will in The Pursuit of Happiness. Willow has backed up her brother's story, claiming that the parenting skills forced them to become mentally mature at a very young age, which may play some part in Jaden's success at just 24. Despite appearing to be a happy family unit in the media, the reality is Jaden and Willow have been raising themselves for a very long time. Number 8. Their relationship is driven by money. The Smith family has been at the top of the news storm for a long time, since it was announced that the Red Table Talk show was going to be cancelled, and since Will Smith got a little too mad on stage. One topic that was brought up on her talk show before its cancellation was the revelation of an entanglement between Pinkett and a singer-songwriter named August Alsina during a brief break that the couple was taking in the early 2000s. Pinkett was quick to bounce back though after breaking up with Will, entangling with August, and eventually getting back with Will to continue their marriage. It's not all sunshines and rainbows though, as the couple still has marital issues to this day and have been plagued with cheating rumors ever since. They've been thrown even further under the bus by their own kids, Willow and Jaden, who claim that the family is highly dysfunctional behind the scenes. Together, Jada and Will carry around a dark storm cloud of negative energy and spread it to everyone they interact with. You would think these guys would just split and save each other the mental hassle, but just look at Will's house. That thing could fit thousands of people inside of it. Them splitting up would mean losing their fancy house, and we wouldn't want that, huh? We wouldn't want that, real estate brokers of Los Angeles, would we? Number 7. She's manipulative. Many things about Jada's personality made celebrities speculate that she may have a hidden evil personality deep within her. While the 94th Academy Awards were very interesting, after host Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's balding head, Will Smith initially laughed, but then he looked at Jada, who is seen rolling her eyes and giving him an "are you kidding me" kind of look. The look was enough to force Will's smile away and cause him to do a complete 180, taking the stage to defend his wife. Jada is most certainly the reason that this situation took place, despite claiming that she can't make Will do anything. Maybe she didn't do it, but she did encourage him to defend her name, and she did have the power to stop her husband from ruining his career. It's not hard to hold someone's hand and go, "Honey, I am mad, but please leave Chris Rock alone." Number 6. She made Snoop Dogg cry. Just after Kobe Bryant passed away in 2020, Snoop Dogg was quick to call out Gate King after she stated in a TV interview that in the past, Kobe was accused of making unwanted advances on a woman that wasn't his wife. In an Instagram video, Snoop Dogg would call out King, and in the process, he insulted King's appearance before telling her to back off B before he came to get her. She would bring Snoop Dogg on Red Table Talk, where she would embarrass him not just in front of her mother and her daughter, but in front of the entire world. After she told the rapper that she felt hurt on behalf of all women when she watched the video of him going after Gayle. As a result, Snoop would be so embarrassed that he would make another video on Instagram where he apologized to King by saying, when you're wrong, you gotta fix it. This was a derogatory manner based off emotions, and he was raised better than that, so he wanted to apologize to her publicly for the language that he used. Jada somehow made Snoop Dogg retract a statement. That man is a sweetheart, but he can be terrifying if he wants to. This isn't really a rumor, I just wanted the world to know that she made a friendly giant cry on the internet. Number 5. Cheating scandals. For a long time now, Will and Jada have attempted to hide their various marriage misdeeds from the media, but they've never actually been successful at it. While both have been rumored to have been cheating on each other multiple times, it was Jada who was confirmed to be the real cheater. While rumors had been circulating that Will was romantically involved with his co-star Margot Robbie from Focus, those were quickly laid to rest thanks for the entire crew of the project confirming that any photos taken of them on set and in character. Jada, however, was most certainly cheating on Will a few years prior with her Hawthorne co-star Mark Anthony. And the proof? Well, Will walked in on them getting jiggy with it and was reduced to tears according to Jada. While they were able to hide it at the time, the conversation that took place between herself and Will on the now cancelled Red Table Talk was quite revealing. Not only did this cheating scandal take place, but Jada briefly entangled with a musician named August Alsina when they separated back in the day. This woman really needs to chill. Number 4. She was forced forced to marry Will. Not only has Jada gone on to roast Will Smith for his actions at both the Oscars and in life in general, but she also shared in an episode of Red Table Talk in 2018 that she cried while walking down the aisle on her wedding day because she never wanted to get married. Rumors had been spread for years that the couple were somehow forced to be together. In the video, Jada could be seen talking about her wedding with Will Smith, and in this, she confesses that she didn't want to get married. She only ended up doing it because her mother forced them to, because Jada was pregnant with Jaden while the two were still dating. She claimed that her mother was not going to be accepting the newborn if the two were just still dating when he was born, so they decided to tie the knot. She then went on to describe how terrible her wedding day was. Oh, was it terrible when everything was really expensive and pretty? That sucks. Number 3, she's a scientist. Although Jada has tried to claim that she isn't a member of the Church of Science, she has been connected to the controversial religion for years. To a point, even an ex-scientist named Leah Remini told the Daily Beast in 2017 that she knew Jada. She's been involved with the church for a long time, and she claimed that she had never seen Will there, that she saw Jada at the Celebrity Center. Lee would then later appear alongside Jada in 2018 on her talk show, where the pair settled the dispute, where Jada claims that the stories are outlandish, but that she did attend some events. Number 2, she wanted to get divorced for years. Breakup rumors have plagued this couple since they first got together in 1997, but they rarely ever came forward to comment on the gossip. However, when the whole Margot Robbie rumor thing began to circulate, Will decided to finally speak up and clear the record. Himself and Jada were not getting divorced, and he was not dating Margot Robbie. Jada backed up the statement on Entertainment Tonight when the question of why people seem to want them to fall apart came up. While they presented a united front, conversations later on the matter suggested that these two had at least spoken about it at one point or another. During Will's appearance on Red Table Talk, the topic came up again, and Will said that he would never get divorced as it was something that he had already done and would like to avoid repeating if possible. Jada laughed and said, yeah, not an option. But when she had Toni Braxton on as a guest, she claimed that she simply wasn't mature enough to get divorced, which makes it sound like she's down to leave Will, she just can't do it right now. Jada is just counting down the days till she finally turns 18 mentally and kicks his butt to the curb. And at number 1, she yelled at Barbie. Although Jada and Will have been married since 1997, it's clear that she doesn't think her marriage is really as strong as it is, to the point where she once confidently felt that Margot Robbie could sweep in at any moment and steal her man. Even though the couple isn't an open marriage, Jada can be a hardcore jealous person when it comes down to it. She lashed out at Margot on set of the film Focus while herself and Will were filming one day. Unfortunately, her biases towards blonde white women got the better of her in this situation, as there was lots of proof that Will and Margot were just friends, but hey, why focus on hardcore evidence? Number 10, Katy Perry collects hair. The singer was once asked during an interview a very simple and cute question of, "What's in your purse?" And fans perhaps hoped that she would respond with a bottle of Killer Queen or a cupcake crumb. But Katy Perry answered, it's just a big empty bag. But she went on to describe what used to be in the purse. She claimed that while in attendance at her first Grammy Awards ceremony, she got to share a dressing room with Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift. Now with all that excitement, you'd think she'd ask for a picture or something, right? No, she asked them for a lock of each of their hairs, which Katy found, quote, totally awesome. Well, her definition of the word awesome must be very different from ours, because this sounds just creepy as all heck. She then elaborated that she would tie little bows to each of them and put them in her purse. Now this sounds so made up, how could it be true? Well, Miley and Taylor actually backed up this story online, and Perry claims to this day that Miley Cyrus is both the most famous person in her purse and in her contacts. Oh, hey, Katie, I think you dropped something. Number 9. Ellen mistreats employees. In her first on-air appearance since announcing the end of her eponymous daytime talk show, Ellen DeGeneres called the press cycle around allegations of toxicity at her workplace orchestrated and misogynistic. The announcement that her show would be cancelled came after months of receiving negative press following a BuzzFeed article reporting former employees alleging that the environment was racially insensitive, filled with harassment and bullying. Ellen maintained in interviews that these allegations were not the reason that she would be leaving leaving the show, simply claiming that the program was no longer challenging for her. While the BuzzFeed report did not allege toxic behavior by Ellen herself, several former staff members claimed that the whole "be kind" motto she had was not genuine at all, which was reflected in a Twitter thread published by comedian Kevin T. Porter. He asked people to send in their horror stories about the host's rudeness over the years, and he received over 2,000 replies. Warner Brothers opened an investigation and concluded that there were some flaws in the day-to-day management at the studio. Following this, Ellen appeared on the 18th season premiere of her show in 2020 and made an on-air apology to viewers, claiming responsibility, later stating that there was no way she could know the true nature of the work environment due to the 255 employees that worked for her across multiple buildings. Hey, ever heard of like a complaint box? Number 8. Prince Charles's affair. He's now the King of England, but he's not always played by the rules. You see, in 1981, Prince Charles, at the time, married Lady Diana, who was 20 years old at the time, leaving a 13-year age gap between them. Behind closed doors, it was speculated that Charles was never in love with Diana in the first place, and it was later proven to be true. While on the outside things seemed pleasant, behind the scenes Charles was secretly meeting up and having an affair with his ex-girlfriend Camilla Bowles. The alleged relationship was written about in the 1992 Diana Her True Story book, but in 1994 Charles confirmed the allegations in a documentary, because that's a great place to do that. The couple filed for a divorce in 1996, and Diana died 1 year later. While the now king made it clear that he had no plans to remarry, he ended up getting remarried in 2005 to, oh hey, look, it's Camilla Bowles. Shocking. Number 7. Jonathan Majors charges. Jonathan Majors may be familiar to those of you who are fans of the MCU as Kang the Conqueror, the newest big bad addition to the never-ending roster of villains in Marvel's Rogue Gallery. Unfortunately, it looks like he may end up getting the CGI eraser treatment due to an incident in March of this year. Majors was arrested on misdemeanor charges of and following a domestic dispute with his girlfriend. These charges, however, would only be the first domino to fall, as rumors began circulating about similar instances in the past, with many people in both the Yale community, where he went to school, and the New York theater scene, where he studied and practiced performing, claiming Majors was well known for being emotionally violent and professionally abusive, but never physically violent. While Majors is currently in a battle to prove his innocence, claiming the situation to have been blown out of proportions, a series of texts uncovered by his lawyer seemingly proved that there was some merit to the incident. They showed Majors his girlfriend had passed out during the incident and as such had to be hospitalized, where she was reported to have several bruises and scratch marks throughout her entire body. This meant that the charges would stick, and Majors is definitely on his way to the bottomless pit of cancelled celebrities. Number 6. Caitlyn Jenner's transition. Now, this one isn't disturbing because of Caitlyn, it's because of how many people felt that her business needed to be a part of their lives. Let people live, you jerks. Rumors had been circulating of Caitlyn's transition since the early 1970s. The former Olympian had publicly denied these rumors for years, with many family members and friends even backing her story up time and time again. But in 2015, the rumors had begun surfacing again due to Jenner being spotted leaving a doctor's office by a tabloid journalist, supposedly after just receiving estrogen treatments. Jenner had also recently undergone reconstructive surgery, which seemed to only add more fuel to the fire. The photo taken and the speculation began to go viral, despite Jenner not being fully out at the time. But a few months later, following these events, she came out as transgender on a highly publicized interview for Diane Sawyer. In the interview, Jenner expressed the gender identity struggles that she has faced through her entire life, having to hide her true self in order to maintain some macho, sporty persona, and for fear of not being accepted. Even revealing that her first wife, Christy Scott, was the first to really understand her struggles, and despite being divorced in 1998, she's publicly expressed her well wishes towards Caitlyn and how proud she is for being herself. You go, girl. Number 5. Kevin Spacey. For a long time, Kevin Spacey was well known in the Hollywood community as a quality actor with a steady career and no signs of that stopping. That was until October 2017, when a BuzzFeed article, once again, had been published alleging that Spacey had made unwanted advances towards a then 14 Anthony Rapp. Spacey was quick to deny the speculation, claiming it to be another Hollywood scandal to fill screen time, but since the release of that article, 30 more people have come forward with their own allegations against Spacey, ranging from harassment to attempted assault. Spacey pulled back, fake apologizing for what he says must have been some drunken behavior to rap, and he even attempted to shift the subject by coming out of the closet. But the truth had already been set free, and becoming a part of the now famous Me Too movement, Spacey was dropped from all projects he was involved in and has been on Hollywood's blacklist ever since, where he rightfully belongs. Number 4. Tiger Woods' infidelity. Since 1999, the famous golfer had not gone a single year without winning at least one golf major championship. In fact, between the years of 1997 and 2008, he had won 14 majors. He was married to a model, had a beautiful home, and pockets full of cash. What more could you want? Apparently for Tiger, he wanted someone that wasn't his wife. In late November 2009, Tiger was seen by neighbors being chased out of his home by his wife, Ellen Nordegren, with a golf club, before peeling out of his driveway in his Escalade and crashing into a fire hydrant and then a tree. He lied unconscious on the street for 6 minutes before coming to, but by that time, it was already too late. News coverage began speculating that there must have been some case of infidelity with Tiger and his wife. And while rumors had speculated that Tiger had a mistress on the side, it turned out that this guy had a lady in every course, so to speak. He admitted on air to the misdoings and lost his endorsements with Nike, Gatorade, Gillette, and Accenture before announcing his retirement entirely from golf. Woods reportedly confessed to sleeping with 120 women outside of his marriage, but it wasn't until April 2010 when Ellen decided to split up with Woods for good after she discovered that one of those mistresses was the next door neighbor's daughter who was in college at the time. Go Kapanoo! Number 3. John Lennon's investigation. Lead guitarist of the Beatles and an incredible musician in his own right, John Lennon was always very open on his political views. He was anti-war, anti-establishment, and anti-government, proven by his counterculture-esque songs like Give Peace a Chance. This marked Lennon as a national threat, and his theory on what that meant was a little fishy. Many times in interviews, he would claim that he was under surveillance 24/7 and that he was seeing the same cars driving near his residence essentially every day. Now, while at first this was taken as the ramblings of a hippie under the influence of mind-altering narcotics, this theory was proven to be true in 1972 when the Immigration and Naturalization Service tried to deport him after the FBI had confirmed that Lennon was under investigation for over a year. He was able to fight back and stay in the country to continue his anti-war agenda. See, hippies aren't always crazy. Okay? Number 2. Arnold has a secret kid. Action movie star and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger made headlines in 2011 with the revelation that an old rumor was in fact true. In 1996, Arnold was married to Maria Shriver, a member of the Kennedy family, and they were prepping to welcome their new son Christopher into the world. Arnie didn't prep by building cribs or baby-proofing the outlets though. Instead, he chose to have an affair with his longtime housekeeper Mildred Baina. Around the same time Christopher was born, so was his illegitimate son, Joseph. Rumors began to rise after his wife noticed the strange and sudden absence of the housekeeper and wondered if there may have been a more sinister reason for her departure. It was later revealed in 2011 though that Arnold decided to address the rumors and claim Joseph as his own. It turns out that Arnold had given Mildred a large severance package so that she could properly raise their son, leaving on what they called good terms. Eventually though, after many years of trying and lots of paperwork, Maria and Arnold were finally divorced and he is now able to spend more time as a father. Mildred is a chef and little Joseph is now all grown up and following in his father's footsteps as both a model and in the movie industry. And number 1. Donald Trump's criminal activities. In 2006, Donald Trump was known solely as a wealthy real estate mogul with a hit reality show called The Apprentice. He had recently been married to Melania Trump and he had a newly born 4-month-old baby. However, reports leaked that Trump was in the midst of an affair with adult film star Stormy Daniels after she filed a civil suit claiming that the contract he made her sign to keep quiet was invalid. Daniels claimed that herself and Trump had shared a very intimate relationship for roughly a year during his marriage to Melania. These weren't the first allegations of an affair, as Trump has been back and forth in the media since the 1970s, being accused by 26 women of harassment or misconduct. While these rumors never held any merit at first, the truth was finally set free. After being the most chaotic president in recent history, it was announced in March that Trump was being arrested on 34 separate violations of a New York law against falsifying business documents to conceal another crime. Basically, over the years, he was essentially taking company money and using it to pay off anyone who might have been a threat to him, both personally and politically. Well hey, thanks for the free money, Donnie. We'll see you never.
Starting off, she uses Ozempic. Now, Oprah is known for being the face of Weight Watchers. She'd promote it all the time and maintain that if you followed the program, you would get results like her. Well, it seems like she got a little help from the magic weight loss drug, Ozempic. She's finally admitting to using weight loss drugs and said, in taking weight loss medication, I'm not constantly thinking about what the next meal is gonna be. She uses it in combination with hiking 3 to 5 miles a day, running, wave resistance training, and eating a healthy diet. This is what I got for the first time after I took the medication. All these years, I thought all of the people who never had to diet were just using their willpower, or they were for some reason stronger than me, Oprah said. And now I realize y'all weren't even thinking about the food. It's not that you had the willpower, you were obsessing over it. Yikes. So it seems like she was just selling lies to people who just wanted to feel better about their bodies. Up next is the Maui Fund. Dwayne Johnson and Oprah Winfrey launched the People's Fund of Maui, a fund intended to put money directly into the hands of adults displaced by the deadly wildfires that had ripped through Hawaii in August 2023. Now, according to their Instagram post, every adult resident who's displaced by the fires was eligible to receive $1,200 each month from the fund. Now, the pair noted that they had kicked off the campaign with $10 million in donations, and asked others to help by contributing further. After announcing the fund, the pair drew criticism from some people on social media who questioned why they were not contributing more of their personal wealth. One person on TikTok called their video tone deaf. Some commenters questioned why the pair, as wealthy celebrities, were asking others to give instead of donating more themselves. "We can't afford it, but you can," one person commented on their video on TikTok. "You guys make more in a day than I'll make in my lifetime," another person wrote. Now, others questioned why the appeal for donations was being directed to the general public rather than their fellow stars with more financial means. "This is disgusting, ask other celebrities, not people who are living paycheck to paycheck," another person said. Moving on to being exploitative. Critics have accused Oprah of sensationalism and exploitation in her talk show's early years. For example, there was an incredibly uncomfortable Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen interview that makes us cringe today. In 2004, Mary-Kate and Ashley were guests on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and at the time the interview took place, the twins were only 17 years old, and Mary-Kate had been hounded by the press about her weight, with intense media speculation that the star was suffering from an eating disorder. Oprah says, "I know there's been a rumor that has recently surfaced that's really upset you," and Mary-Kate and Ashley were both clearly taken aback by the question, and a tense moment of silence followed, by Oprah saying, "You know, the one about eating." Now, Mary-Kate was so thrown off by the line of questioning that she looked almost on the verge of tears, and Ashley jumped in to rescue her. "Yeah, you know, people are going to write what they're gonna write," they say. After some awkward back and forth, Oprah asked the Olsen twins what dress size they are, and they reacted uncomfortable by saying, "I don't know." It was obvious that the questions about their bodies were uncomfortable, but Oprah still pushed. When they said they weren't sure, Oprah hit back sarcastically saying, "Oh, you're not sure? That's interesting." Now, later the same year that the Oprah interview aired, Mary-Kate checked into a rehabilitation facility to seek treatment for a food-related health disorder, and Oprah should be ashamed of asking all of that. Then there's promoting pseudoscience. In 2007, Oprah brought Jenny McCarthy, the Playboy model and actress, onto her show to talk about autism. Jenny's young son, Evan, had suffered a series of seizures at 2.5 years old and was later diagnosed with autism. Now, Jenny was adamant that the MMR vaccination Evan received as a baby caused his autism. Oprah gave her story a platform and unwittingly started the panic we know today. Now, during the interview, Oprah never challenged Jenny's views either. Not to mention, she promoted the self-help book and film The Secret, which promotes the law of attraction, and many people accused her of promoting pseudoscience here as well. Now let's talk about the Letterman feud. Both Oprah and David Letterman effectively banned each other from their shows for 2 decades after a mysterious feud. Oprah had her talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, and Letterman had his late-night show, The Late Show with David Letterman. Now, the feud started back in the 80s when Oprah made an appearance on The Late Show and felt that it was an uncomfortable experience. Now, this made her refuse to be a guest on the show again. In response, Letterman began cracking jokes about Oprah and how much she hated him. Now, this might have contributed to exaggerated rumors about her feelings towards him, but in any case, regardless of how much truth there were in these rumors, she did not speak to him for 16 years. Since then, though, the two have made up a couple of times, but they've buried the hatchet and appeared on each other's shows. Now we have her dark upbringing. Oprah was born in Mississippi to a single teenage mother and grew up in extreme poverty. During her childhood, the cost of raising Oprah became too much for her mother to handle, so she was sent to live with her biological father. Since then, Oprah has come forward talking about how she's been mistreated and taken advantage of by her cousin, uncle, and a family friend. Now at 13, after suffering for years, she ran away from home, and at 14, she became pregnant. She gave birth to a son, but he was premature and died only a few weeks later, and she was able to overcome all of this, but man, she had it rough. On to her promoting a fake book. Oprah has a book club, and she added James Frey's book A Million Little Pieces to the reading list. Now when James was promoting his books on talk shows or other media outlets, it was referred to as a memoir. But large parts of the stories were later found out to be exaggerated or fabricated, sparking a media controversy. Now this was discovered after investigation was conducted by the Smoking Gun. They determined that James had actually fictionalized some of the story, and controversy arose after Oprah initially defended the book, but she later confronted James on her show. Now there's her medical ties. I think Seth MacFarlane said it best in 2020 when he said, "Oprah has done some wonderfully altruistic things with her career, but the use of her platform to amplify the voices of dubious characters rather than legitimate scientists has been a disservice," he wrote in a now deleted tweet. I hope she will lend her own powerful voice to correct it. Now the post included an LA Times article link that discussed medical misinformation from Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, who Oprah supports. The exception to that is the elevation of these purveyors of pseudoscience. People like Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, all the way back to Jenny McCarthy and the anti-movement, he continued. And it's a strange dichotomy that I think a lot of people, particularly right now, are having trouble reconciling. You know this person has done all this positive work for the world, and yet somehow has gotten caught up in this web of junk science on many occasions. Next up, we have being rude to guests. Now throughout her career, Oprah has been called out for not being as sensitive as she perhaps could have been. An interview she did with Dolly Parton in 2003 has resurfaced, with people questioning the star and her interview tactics. Some people have questions about what Oprah was asking Dolly, how she was asking, and what exactly her goal was by probing for personal information. Now in the first video, Oprah asked Dolly how she's able to look so good for her age, and Dolly gives her a funny answer. Now Oprah presses harder though, noting that Dolly has been open about having cosmetic work done, but Dolly rolls with the punches and admits to it. Now Dolly even says that she'll probably continue going under the knife, and some people are pointing out that Oprah looks disappointed that Dolly flipped it in her favor. Now a second clip from that same interview popped up as well, and Oprah dives right into a heavy subject, saying she heard Dolly fell into a huge depression at age 40. Now she doesn't really approach the topic with any sensitivity, and that's rubbed people the wrong way. And lastly, we have the scandal in South Africa. When the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls opened in Johannesburg in 2007, Nelson Mandela, Tina Turner, Sidney Poitier, Spike Lee, and Oprah herself attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the landmark boarding school, founded with $40 million of Oprah's money. But less than a year later, 6 of the 152 students who had been personally selected by Oprah to attend the institution came forward to accuse dorm matron Virginia Tiny McGabo of mistreating them and taking advantage of them. "It has shaken me to my core," Oprah said, of returning to South Africa with a team of private detectives to investigate the allegations and personally speak with the girls. "This has been one of the most devastating, if not the most devastating experiences in my life. It seems like she and the organization did not look into who they were hiring and how the operation was running, as this all could have been avoided."
Number 10. An advocate for Maui. Oprah has been claiming to be many things since this Maui backlash thing has started. A good boss, a charitable woman, and an advocate for the island of Maui. By starting this fund and donating her spare millions, she's made her mark in the public as a woman who cares, so much so that she's asking you to give her your money. Isn't that nice? As mentioned in previous videos, Oprah would not care about Maui or its people if she didn't have a vested stake on the island. Oprah's had property in Maui for quite some time, being almost a second home to her. When the fire started raging, she started fundraising. Think about all of the things that have happened in the past few years. We all forgot about Australia being set on fire in 2020. A lot of Western Canada was on fire earlier this year, and some parts of Florida have been underwater for a long time, and they just kind of live with it. Yet Oprah has dedicated her time and money to helping out the area where she has a vacation home. Do with that that what you will. Number 9. The NDAs. Confidentiality agreements are not uncommon in the world of Hollywood. Marvel will literally track you down if you say anything about their movies to anyone. In Kitty Kelly's tell-all book about Oprah, the author mentions there were confidentiality agreements that co-workers and guests were made to sign. This included everyone from Tom Cruise to the guy who made his breakfast in the morning. Over 500 staff members were forced to sign these documents, with one former employee, Elizabeth Cody, trying to write a book about her time working for Oprah, but she was eventually stopped by the courts, still being tied to the agreement. The NDAs were not meant to be a way to just keep show secrets safe, but any and all of Oprah's secrets as well. According to Elizabeth, the document was signed by almost everybody in Oprah's life, and she may have had this brand of sweetness and kindness, but that it was just not how she was. Elizabeth felt that she was in Oprah's pocket after she signed the paperwork. In 2010, there was even a lawsuit filed against Oprah and her company from a training performance center that was claiming that they were fired for violating the terms of her agreement, but all they did was just advertise that they were doing stuff for her show, so I'm not sure what's wrong there. Number 8. Diva. On air, Oprah is portrayed as this wholesome, sweet lady, but according to her stepmother, there's actually this unknown side to Oprah, hidden from fans for years. According to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people that you're ever gonna meet. She claims that Oprah does not allow herself and her husband to stay at Oprah's home whenever they try to visit, which means that they have to stay in hotels with money out of their own pockets. Barbara also said that Oprah was very quick to anger when it came to her staff especially, with a lot of people being fired over the years left and right for the littlest things. But that's not all. Despite being a billionaire, Barbara allows Oprah to stay at her home when she visits, which she just complains about the entire time. The first time she ever stayed there, Oprah allegedly complained that her bed sheets weren't 1,000 threads and that her bath towel wasn't big enough, but that's fair. This woman has billions of dollars to do literally anything she wants, and what she wants to do is make her family feel like a burden to the world. Number 7. Controversial beliefs. Oprah has had plenty of controversial people onto her show, from so-called medical experts to psychologists to celebrities. Whatever's good for TV, it's good for Oprah. One particular incident that caused a ton of backlash for Oprah was when she did an interview with Suzanne Summers. She was brought onto the show to share her beauty secrets on how she was able to look so young. According to Summers, this treatment that she does on a regular basis would help people. She claimed that she rubs estrogen cream into her skin on one arm and smears progesterone into the other arm. Progesterone is just a fancy way of saying steroids. She also claimed that she took 60 supplements and vitamins a day, 40 in the morning and 20 before bed. What really stirred the pot was that this woman claimed to be a health expert and self-help author, but surprise surprise, doctor she was not! Medical experts started bashing Oprah, claiming that this type of extreme hormone therapy was actually the cause of several diseases and illnesses, like cancer. Despite Suzanne's claims that her specially made non-FDA approved bioidenticals were natural and safe, they were actually just synthetic conventional hormones that you could buy from a pharmacy. A little label smacked on the front. Oprah did everything in her power to sell this idea to her audience, believing 100% that these methods were useful, even claiming to have used the methods to make herself feel incredible. So Oprah would rather risk her audience getting cancer than telling them the truth. Solid. Number 6. The free cars. Who could forget Oprah's famous words? You get a car, you get a car, everybody got a car! The moment was historical on her series and was parodied time and time again, and it still does to this day. However, what a lot of people do not know is that it wasn't as simple as here's some car keys, go have fun. That would be insane. No, when someone gives you anything on television, especially if it's free, there's a catch. For Oprah's audience, the catch was that if they wanted to drive away in their brand new car, they'd have to pay over $7,000 in taxes first. While Oprah's studio would cover the sales tax and registration for the cars, their audience members were given a choice to either pay $7 grand and take the car, or just simply keep that cash instead. The famous moment she shouted this on the show featured 11 real teachers who were, according to Oprah, in desperate need of a new car. They, along with the audience members, received keys in a box on camera that Oprah claimed to be for their new cars. Everything has a catch though, even now. For someone who was known for being charitable and generous, the word free really does mean something different to Oprah. Number 5. The fabricated memoirs. This is a time when Oprah kind of ruined someone's life when she brought them onto her show. Oprah launched her book club in 1996, a reading encouraging segment from her talk show that turned any book that she chose into a bestseller. In September 2005, Winfrey picked A Million Little Pieces, a brutal brutal and painful memoir by James Frett about his years-long struggle with substance control issues. A Million Little Pieces became the best-selling nonfiction book of that year, and Frey was asked to appear on her talk show to discuss the book that Oprah called gut-wrenching. However, the following year, a news outlet ran a very expositive article about Frey after it was discovered that he made up or juiced large portions of his memoir. For example, there is a section of the book that tells a story of Frey surviving a fatal train crash that took the lives of 2 teenagers. Well, he was never on that train and he didn't have anything to do with that situation. He just wrote about it and was like, I was there. Weeks after the article broke, Oprah asked Frey to return to the show, where he faced livid viewers and an even more livid Oprah. She told James that she felt duped and betrayed, which was a feeling that was shared by her audience and millions of readers around the world. When she asked James why he felt the need to lie to herself and her readers, he tried everything, making every excuse he could think of, and he claimed that he altered a lot of details, but that the overall plot was real. Well, the studio audience responded with a massive wave of boos, gasps, and groans, and Winfrey later apologized for the mistreatment from her audience, because that wasn't her intention. But the damage was already done, and this dude's career as a writer is non-existent. Number 4. Lance Armstrong. 7-time Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong has gone down in history as a man who's unable to ride a bike without chemical training wheels. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2013, Lance was brought on to discuss the allegations floating around regarding his status as a Tour de France winner. Several sources claimed that Lance had to take performance-enhancing substances to win each and every race, as well as a type of transfusion involving the red life juice that flows inside all of us. Armstrong went on air and fessed up to every single thing that people were claiming he had done. However, he did deny the notion that he was like a mastermind who would control his teammates and force them to join in his extracurricular activities. But amidst his admission of guilt, say that 10 times fast, there was a moment where he tried to pin the situation on his battle with cancer. He wraps it up by saying that he should have tried harder to cancel the culture rather than to create a problem. Well, unfortunately for him, he was stripped of all 7 Tour de France titles and has since lived in exile among the cycling community. Number 3. Where's the beef? In spring of 1996, the United Kingdom apparently experienced an outbreak of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, or mad cow disease, since I can't pronounce that last word. According to the FDA, the disease destroys cows' central nervous system, and if humans eat the infected meat, you get zombies that can't No, you can contract a deadly variant called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, probably named after the first dude who got the disease. During the mad cow scare, the Oprah Winfrey Show booked Howard Lyman. The former cattle rancher had adopted a vegetarian lifestyle, and he went to work for the Humane Society's Eating with Co-Science Animal Welfare campaign, and he appeared on the show to discuss the threat of mad cows to America. He pointed out that feeding the remains of mad cow to infected cattle or other animals could have facilitated the spread, and that a lot of that was happening in the US right then and there. Oprah was stunned and vowed that she would never eat another burger ever again. Well, it turns out her influence and her millions of viewers were so large that only a few hours after the episode aired, and she declared that she wasn't eating hamburgers ever again, the price of beef stock plummeted, staying at an all-time low for 2 months. In fact, one Texas rancher lost an estimated $6.7 million and organized a class action lawsuit against Oprah and her show for talking trash about beef. After a 6-week trial, she won, leaving one dude with no farm and out hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. Number 2. Trespasser. So, there's a video circulating the internet that a lot of people are interpreting as a direct message to Oprah Winfrey. Jason Momoa released a video on his Instagram a few weeks ago urging tourists not to come to Maui as the place was on fire and, they didn't need anybody's help. He claimed that he appreciated anyone sharing love for the people of Maui and continued to say that there was someone trying to scam people out of money that was pretending to be him online. After sharing links to several sites that were directly linked to putting money into the pockets of the people of Maui, fans decided to focus on the bit about people staying away. Now, at the same time that this was happening, Oprah and The Rock had announced the People's Fund of Maui, and the thing was that caused a lot of backlash for Oprah. And in Jason's video, he does not include a link to the charity and doesn't even acknowledge its existence. He has since spoken about the charity, but has never actually said the names Oprah or Dwayne out loud. People are just putting 2 and 2 together though, and the internet has decided that Jason Momoa has called Oprah Winfrey a trespasser. Number 1. Whoopi Goldberg. In author Kitty Kelly's unauthorized Oprah biography, Kelly claims that Whoopi Goldberg became a persona non grata, or an unwelcome person in Oprah's life, after Whoopi was nominated for an Oscar for her role in The Color Purple. The book noted that following the honor, the comedian never appeared on Oprah's show again, and was noticeably shunned from her 2006 Legends Ball. It wasn't until Oprah invited the entire cast of The Color Purple onto the show that the so-called feud was addressed. It turns out that Oprah had actually ran into Whoopi at Tyler Perry's party sometime after the 2006 snub. Goldberg confronted Oprah, leading to a hilariously adorable moment where Oprah asked why Whoopi was mad at her, to which Whoopi was like, "I'm not mad at you, I thought you were mad at me, what's going on here?" They mutually agreed that they really should have just picked up the phone a long time ago and figured the whole thing out and settled the dispute.
Starting off our countdown is Miley Cyrus. She has talked about her Disney experience on more than one occasion, revealing the struggles she faced after taking on the epic role of Hannah Montana. Throughout her career, Miley has shared that she struggled with an eating disorder as a young girl, and that she felt wearing makeup and a wig every day was the definition of what it meant to be a pop star. It was difficult for her to really find herself as Miley because the world knew her as Hannah Montana. Her mom is still her manager to this day, and she also admitted that Disney was not always the best to work for. She said she started understanding how many people were taking advantage of her young daughter, and revealed that Miley was grossly, her quote, underpaid. It even came to light that Miley didn't even own her name during that time. Since her character outside of Hannah Montana was actually Miley Stewart on the show, they actually had rights to her name, Miley. Many reasons led up to her decision to quit in 2010, and even though she had a tough experience as a kid, she recently said she would totally do a reboot. But maybe now it's different because she's an adult. She can handle the Disney network. Coming up next, number 9 is Joe Jonas. He was just one of the brothers from the boy band The Jonas Brothers, but he took on the lead role in the Disney movies Camp Rock. In recent years, Joe wrote a piece for Vulture which highlighted his time at Disney. In the piece, he revealed that he and his brothers always had to sugarcoat their music and lives to maintain their innocent Disney persona. He said their lyrics actually had to be reviewed and approved by the Disney team, and if anything was too sexual or provoking, then they were told to change it. That was actually one of the main reasons that they decided to quit. He also said that Disney controlled their creativity too much, and he started to feel like one of their puppets. For any young child star wanting a music career outside of Disney, this would have been a good warning for them. Outside of the personality image that they had to maintain, he also hated the fact that he had to shave every single day to play a role that was much younger than he was in real life. That would suck as a man. Moving on to number 8, we have Hilary Duff. There have been a lot of conflicting stories about what exactly led to her decision to leave Disney and her lead role as Lizzie McGuire. But fans got some kind of confirmation back in 2003 when her mom did an interview with Entertainment Weekly and claimed it had to do with her paycheck. Susan Duff claimed that Disney was trying to bully her daughter into accepting whatever offer they wanted to make for a sequel to the Lizzie McGuire movie. Her mom said that Hilary ended up walking away from the sequel, but then Disney walked away from the whole franchise. Hilary also spoke about it and said that it really had an effect on her mental health, which is why she chose to bow out for a while. She said, "I was just making records and touring and making movies and then doing it all over again. By the end of it, I was like, I'm done. I don't enjoy this anymore. I'm not who I want to be." So I guess Disney is not paying their stars enough is what I am starting to realize. Sliding into spot number 7 is Selena Gomez. The Wizards of Waverly Place star left her Disney days behind and had no problem explaining to her fans why. It was a pretty simple explanation and was the classic case of feeling the pressure to live up to that innocent Disney image. She told the New York Times, "I was being held to this expectation of being the good girl. I knew deep down that this wasn't what I wanted to do, being exhausted of forcing something that wasn't right." According to Refinery29, she decided to break away from Disney and actually signed a new contract with Interscope instead. At that point, she allegedly let go of her mother acting as her manager and also had split up with her then boyfriend, Justin Bieber. This was a very big moment in her career, and that is when she released her album, Revival. Once the album was out, she admitted it was the first time that she could breathe and no longer felt like she had to maintain the Disney guidelines. No one really realized just how bad her time with Disney was, and fans were shocked to hear her admit that it actually made her depressed and put her in a really low spot in her life.
Rolling into number 6 is Dylan and Cole Sprouse. The twins took over the Disney Channel with their hit show The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and then The Sweet Life on Deck. From the outside looking in, it seemed like they had the world in their hands. But they suddenly left the Disney network behind, and fans were shocked to learn their show would not continue. The boys have opened up about what happened and said they tried to pitch a spin-off idea to the Disney team, but they shut it down. Dylan explained and said, "When we had pitched our idea, it was kind of the situation where they had almost laughed in our faces." He then said Disney came back to them a year later with an idea that was essentially the same thing as their original pitch. That is when he said he and his brother Cole basically laughed in their face and walked out. That was the last meeting they ever had with Disney, and despite having years-long relationship with them, things ended up leaving on a very icy note. They have no problem warning others that Disney might steal your ideas, so keep them to yourself. Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Rowan Blanchard. She gained a massive fan base from her time on the newer Disney show Girl Meets World. Fans were crushed when the series was cancelled after their ratings dropped. Forbes reported that the show lost around 3.6 million viewers between season 1 and season 3. But the one thing that people always loved was Rowan and the fact that she prompted the idea of intersectional feminism. Despite her young age, she rallied for the Me Too movement and openly discussed her sexuality. She made a conscious decision back in 2017 to part ways with Disney following the cancellation of the show. She did an interview with W Magazine and said she left because she felt controlled by them. But she didn't exactly say the name Disney Network, probably to protect herself, but people could piece it together. She said, "I worked for a corporation for 4 years that is known for silencing and crafting your voice. So with that, I just had to very much stand my ground and separate myself, which I think I did." She now says that she loves that she's not recognized anymore for her Disney character, but she's now recognized for her activism. In spot number 4 is Raven-Symoné. Fans were devastated when Raven left Disney for a while after her TV series That's So Raven became a massive success. But she shocked everyone when she signed on to do a spin-off of the original show called Raven's Home at 33 years old. Fans really didn't believe that she would work with Disney ever again, thinking that there was bad blood between them, but turns out there wasn't. Kind of. She did admit to feeling the pressure of having to try and fit the mold of Raven from the show, and not who she was in real life, which is also Raven. When she came out in 2016, she revealed that Disney was always very accepting of her and her sexuality, but that people involved in the network weren't. She explained that during the last season of That's So Raven, she wore jeans and a vest and tie, and one of the members went up to her mom and said, "She looks too much like a lesbian. Can you tell her to put on a skirt and makeup? Because then they'll accept her and come to her concert." As we know from other examples on this list, fitting the Disney look can add a lot of pressure to someone, especially someone who felt like they couldn't really express who they really were. Luckily, Disney has been more supportive and inclusive with the LGBTQ community since her original show. Taking over number 3, we have Shia LaBeouf. If you followed his career, you would see that he is definitely one to experiment with new projects and avenues. But there was a route he refused to go down when he was working with Disney on the classic show Even Stevens. He did an interview with MTV and said that he stopped working with Disney because they were very controlling over where his career was headed. Turns out they wanted him to start a music career. When looking at Disney, most of their stars started out with acting and then went into singing as their career grew. Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, Hilary Duff, to name a few. Even Raven-Symoné. During his interview with MTV, he said, "I never came out with a music thing, even though Disney will push you that way." He went on to say that he always felt out of place at Disney and never felt like he truly belonged. Can you guys just imagine, like, Shia LaBeouf as a singer? Oh, what a world. Taking over the number 2 spot is Demi Lovato. The singer has always been open about her struggles with mental illness and addiction, but that was not always the case. She wasn't very transparent back in her Disney days when she starred on Sunny with a Chance and Camp Rock. In more recent interviews, she has revealed that she struggled with bulimia after getting bullied for her weight while working on Disney. She said she was performing concerts on an empty stomach and started self-medicating for her depression. The pressures of her Disney career quickly caught up to her, which might be why she was so angry in 2012 when Disney Channel made a joke in one of their scripts about eating disorders. Demi lashed out at them on Twitter and tweeted, "I find it really funny how a company can lose one of their actresses from the pressures of an eating disorder and yet still make jokes about that very disease." They responded immediately and said that they were removing both episodes that included the jokes and said it was never their intention to make light of eating disorders. In our number 1 spot is Bella Thorne. This story of Bella has become famous ever since she shared it with her fans. She found fame as a young child on the Disney TV series Shake It Up, but it was cancelled in 2013 despite being the number 1 series in 2 demographics. People thought she was going to stay with Disney and move on to her next project, but it seemed like she was fed up with taking orders from them. After leaving the network, Bella revealed that one time they threatened to fire her after she posted a photo of herself wearing a black bikini. They ended up telling her mom that they cannot afford to fire her at that point, but if she does anything like that again, they will. The worst part about the whole thing was that Bella's mom was the one who bought her that bikini. Once this story came to surface, Bella opened up more about her Disney experience and said she was forced to talk with a higher voice so that she would appeal to Disney's demographic. Even off the show, like during interviews and press, she was asked to change her tone. For anyone who does not follow Bella, she naturally has a deeper voice. Long story short, Bella stopped tolerating the demands and went on to pursue a very different career. She's now acting full-time, putting out music, and is also running an OnlyFans company. No lie.